right, folks, I think you know the hurricane season has just started, and already we've had one hurricane that has caused destruction to homes and businesses. And then we had a little cousin with some rain right after that.
Whose cousin was that?
Yeah. With us now is Director of Artemis Consulting, Major Basil Jarrett, to talk business continuity after a storm. Good morning, sir. Welcome to Smile. How are you?
Morning.
Hope you and your family are safe, sir.
Hi there.
Yes, the only disruption to my life was power cut and internet, which you can imagine in this day and age is pretty severe, but I give thanks.
Well, you said was. That mean you're all right?
Yeah, within 24 hours it was back. Kudos to JPS.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, nice.
You wrote an article July 4. Where are we now? July 8, are we? That's right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're July 8. And the headline says, Surviving Beryl, Tips for Business Continuity and Resilience. Give me an overall view, and then we will touch some of your headlines, and then you could explain. But
Right.
give me an overall view of someone waking up on the business, not there again. What me do?
Well, obviously, you know, in a disaster event, you want to make sure that you're able to bounce back and to get back to business in as short a time as possible. So business continuity needs to be an important part of any thriving business today. You have to think, listen, we just came out of COVID. We just had Beryl, in July, a Category 5 hurricane of this size, such an early time. It tells you every day that crisis and disasters, it's a part of life. It's inevitable. And so you need to be making those decisions that ensure that when these things do happen, you can get back to business, get back to regular operations on as soon as possible. There's the issue of reputation management, your trust and loyalty with customers, also your employees. How soon can we get back to your suppliers, your supply chains, etc.? How soon can we get back to business once the disaster
Are you
has passed?
suggesting that if I start a business, I must start a business thinking that a hurricane might take it down?
Oh, you should.
And I'm being serious.
No,
You
but never
absolutely
asked an
should.
important question, because I don't know that a lot of businesses, if you say it, and maybe you can tell me what you found in your business, outside of the big corporates. Not a lot of people talk about BCP. If you say something BCP,
What is that?
They ask
Yeah.
you what that is. But the truth is that from the day you conceptualize your business, you ought to have a business continuity plan.
Exactly. And a big part of that plan is the communications around disasters. Sometimes, communications is tricky. We leave it at the back end.
Yes.
It's a decision that we make after we've already made decisions. Say, hey, we did this, go and communicate it. But communicating well during a crisis is actually a major part of your ability to turn around in a shorter time as possible.
Let's go to some headlines that you said. We don't usually have a whole lot of time, but you can explain what you mean. Assessing vulnerabilities.
This, to my mind, is the most important part of any business continuity plan. We can't predict what's going to happen, but in every company, there are latent gaps, latent vulnerabilities that unless you are taking the pulse of the business on a daily basis, you don't know what they are. What you don't want is for a disaster to bring up those gaps, and this is the first time you're learning about it. So one of the things that we do at Artemis is that we help companies to identify what are those latent gaps in the business, how do you mitigate and try to cauterize them before they become big disasters, because sometimes those very gaps become the disaster themselves. So they could be vulnerabilities, but they also could be the cause of some pain points later on.
This crisis management team is so key. I mean, at Grace Kennedy Post, pre-COVID, before we even knew what was happening here, we established a team that was communicating worldwide. Really crucial.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we saw, especially with Beryl, when communications goes, you have to be able to find your target audiences, your key stakeholders. So before any crisis event, you need to know, in an event of this magnitude, what channels will we still have available to us? If social media goes down, is our website, is our text messages still exist?
Yeah.
How do we communicate with our key constituents in the event of a crisis?
What are we saying?
And what are we saying? That's also very important.
Which kind of leads to the next one. You probably mentioned something, employee safety and communication.
And that's something that a lot of companies leave for the last.
Yes, sir.
Right? Employees are usually the last to know, and this is something that we also need to address, because not only can employees be your disciples and bring that message, but they can also undo the good work you're doing. If they are in the dark, they don't know what's happening, and somebody says, I heard this, but so-and-so who works there told me that it's something else. So it's critical that employees are integrated into any robust BCP.
Especially the ones who are customer facing, because they're your
Absolutely.
boots on the ground. Transparency with customers and stakeholders.
Well,
You look like you're adding something.
that goes without saying. One of the knee-jerk reactions you'll find is that when something goes wrong, you want to cover it up and hide it and try to, apportion blame somewhere else. Sometimes, too, there's an event that has hit you so hard, it's going to have implications for your supply chain down the line and your ability to deliver goods, products, and services later on. But because of the embarrassment of being caught with your pants down, you try to hug it up, but it causes problems later on and leaves gaps that a competitor can easily exploit.
Leveraging technology.
Well, that's in 2024, that's key. And I'm not, from a communications perspective, I'm not just talking about social media and its ability to give people regular updates and all of that, but what other emerging technologies are out there that you can use to make your company a little bit more resilient? AI is big now. Yeah. How can you use AI to not only identify the gaps that are in your company, but to help plug them early?
And then damage assessment.
That's also important. And one of the things I've learned about damage assessment is that the communication seems to stop when the crisis passes. And a lot of companies are not in the habit of continue run through the tape. Keep the communities and your stakeholders informed. For example, burial has passed. And we all think that this is the end of it. But after burial, there are some critical incidents that we need to look at. I was listening to the minister this morning talking about the agriculture sector. That communication continues with our farmers. Absolutely. Because I can tell you, I didn't get hit by the hurricane that badly. And I was like, well, what was this? But then when I saw what happened in St. Elizabeth, I'm like, we're going to have banana chips issues later on. That sort of thing. So
banana chips.
It's I remember there was a shortage of banana chips when I think it was Portland was wiped out. So it's very important to keep the communication running right throughout.
Yeah.
Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
God bless you and your family, sir.
Thank you.
Director of Artemis Consulting, Major Basil Jarrett.
Still to come, we're looking at fascinating facts about weather events. First, though, we catch you up on what's going on in the news. News in 5 is next.